Hey everybody, it is Friday. Welcome back to another episode of Trucker Money. This is number 44. We're going to talk about the week of June 21st through the 25th. We try to get together every Friday, talk about money, take a break from trucking, talk about what you're going to do as a benefit from that trucking. Rates are good, you're making extra money. What are you doing with it? This is not financial advice. I'm merely trying to encourage you to think about your financial future, your financial responsibilities, and taking maximum advantage of the times we are in right now as far as freight, and really using this opportunity to try to change your future, set yourself up nice, and not squander maybe what might be the best opportunity any of us have ever had in our lifetime, and maybe ever will have. So let's make the most of it. Let's try to get that retirement that we're working so hard for, and everything we deserve. So trucking's kind of off the table. Let's talk about investing, finance, debt, business, whatever. My favorite thing to talk about is side income, passive income. What I'm doing on the side to earn extra money in case, I might wake up one day and with some bad disease and I can't go trucking anymore. Then what? So I got this other stuff to fall back on. For this week, well, I always start, what did we have come in this week? Just talk a little bit about, I just got a rent check in the mail. So that's kind of nice. We're just going to put that on the mortgage for the property and save the rest, I guess. Make a little bit off of YouTube, not a lot. That's kind of a nice little supplemental. Hopefully someday that'll be something, kind of meaningful. I promote the MUDFLAP app. I don't earn much off of that. Really more or less promote it because I want it to be around because we use it. So if you buy your own fuel, check out the link in the description below. Maybe that's a good deal for you. So let's start with the week with who paid this week. We got some decent payments. Let me check my list here. BP, the oil company, paid. Royal Dutch Shell, they paid. Must be oil season. Fidelity High Dividend ETF paid. FDVV ticker symbol. Flowers Foods. It's one of my quiet favorites. Flowers Foods, ticker symbol FLO. Slightly overpriced right now, but there's kind of a company that's always there. Even through the pandemic, their share price didn't really budge, and it really doesn't move a lot. But they just quietly, plug along. A very stable company. I'm liking them. Nobody raised it. I didn't get any dividend increases this week, so I'm kind of disappointed about that. It's nice to, if nothing else, psychologically get a raise for doing nothing. I didn't make any purchases this week. I've been I gotta find the time to get back into this, and I've been committing my capital other places, kind of growing the business, because that's kind of what needs to take priority right now. But we'll get back there. What I want to talk about this week is dividend reinvestment theory. Okay, y'all kind of know, you make money, you compound that money into making more money, right? So you reinvest the money you make is a way to do things, and that money grows. It's part of compounding. Okay, now with dividends, it's probably some people tired of hearing it, but it's my favorite way to make passive income. It's one of the best ways, if you ask me. It's one of the things that are truly passive. Real estate, not so passive. Sometimes I gotta go fix a refrigerator or fix a leaky roof or fix a faucet. It's not entirely passive, but it's close, I guess. So let's talk about different ways to reinvest dividends, because you probably all know, so a stock, say you own a couple shares of whatever, AFLAC, okay? Well, they pay out a dividend, all right? So what do you do with that dividend? Most common thing to do is let it drip, which is a DRIP, a dividend reinvestment plan, okay? When that dividend pays out, the common thing to do is just let that dividend roll back into the stock and buy additional shares. So say you own 10 shares and they pay out a dividend, you might get enough cash to buy, 1/3 of a share. The math isn't right on that, but I'm just using it for example. So now you have 10.3 shares, right? So the next time they pay out, you get paid a dividend on 10.3 shares instead of 10. Okay, that's probably the way most people do it. Another way to do that is to do what's called let your dividends pool. Okay, so say that 10 shares pays you out $5, whatever. Now you can take that $5 and not reinvest it. You can do what's called pool your dividends. Let that $5 be accumulated into your cash position. Just say, don't reinvest dividends, put it in my cash position. Okay, those are probably the two most common ways to do it. Now, if you're going to pool the money, which is right now, I'm dripping everything, reinvesting everything into the same company it came from. When I get bigger, more, sizable chunks of money coming in, I'm going to switch it over and I'm going to pool those dividends. Now, once you do that, there's a lot of different things you can do with it. And we'll talk about some of the different reinvestment strategies today that maybe you haven't thought of. I don't want to call them advanced strategies because they're not. It just might be things you didn't think of. And some of the things you can do can speed up the compounding or even maybe speed up your capital appreciation. So if you have time to commit to these techniques, think about it. Think about what's best for you. Now, one of the things you can do is if you pool the dividends, you can, instead of dripping it back into the same stock, you can pool the money and then say, I want to wait for a buying opportunity in AFLAC. I want to wait for the price to come down a little bit so I can buy more shares with that $5. So I can say, pool that $5, and if AFLAC comes down 5%, 10%, instead of buying 0.3 shares with my reinvestment, now maybe I'm buying 0.5 shares or 0.6 shares. See, so you can get more for your money. Now this takes, a little time and effort and paying attention, but it's a good strategy. I like that. Your money isn't committed to the market for as long. You might wait 3-4 months for that buying opportunity. Now, during that 3 months, you might miss the next dividend, or you might miss some capital appreciation if it goes up, if you don't get it pulled back. There's a statistical rule in investing, historically accurate, not a proven thing, just historically relevant, that time in the market beats timing the market. So the more time you have in the market, you will generally beat trying to time the market and wait for ideal times to get in. Unless you are somebody who just watches this stuff like a hawk all day, every day, and that's all you do, you're probably not going to time the market very well. And my proof of that would be that we don't have the world's first trillionaire yet. If there was somebody that was good at market timing, they'd be a trillionaire by now. We just don't have that. Now, the next strategy you could do if you're pooling those dividends is take your AFLAC dividends, say $5, pool it, and put it into another investment. Now, there can be multiple criteria for that. One way to do it is say, I want to put that dividend, reinvest it into one of my stocks that is beaten down. So you could say the cheapest stock. So say you had that $5 and your Duke Energy stock got beat down hard some reason for that week. Well, that $5 might be better reinvested into Duke Energy. You're getting a deal on it. And I'm just putting these names out there for example. And that would, in theory, give you capital appreciation. You're buying bargain. Okay? That's one way to do it. Another theory is, okay, I have my group of investments that I have, and I'm going to pool my dividends, and when it's time for me to purchase, I'm going to buy the thing with the lowest PE, the lowest price to earnings ratio, which would indicate kind of a similar thing, a bargain or a cheaper price. So that's another way to do it. That would indicate, one of your stocks is on value, and you're going to put your money into that. The next thing to do, and I kind of like this one, I might do a little bit of it someday, is take your pooled dividends, and because you had some money come in, say you had 4 different things pay you $5, you got $20 over here to reinvest in your pooled dividends. Take that $20, go through all your investments, and see which one has the highest yield right now. So if you got AFLAC over here yielding 2.1%, and you take those dividends, maybe something else just did a dividend increase, or for some reason they're yielding 6%. Maybe you're looking at Prudential yielding historically between like 6 and 8%. Maybe you want to take your pooled money, which is kind of, in a way, free money, and put it into Prudential where you're yielding 6% instead of 2.1% over here. That's a valid strategy. I kind of like that one, but it kind of can maybe put your portfolio out of balance. Maybe you don't want to have all this money over here in Prudential, but you can see where it would be beneficial. You're buying more return with it. You're buying a 6% return instead of a 2.1% return wherever you're at. So I really kind of like that strategy. The one I probably like the most is this next one. So say Aflac just paid, you pooled the dividends, right? You just got paid a dividend, right? So if you put that money back into Aflac, you're going to wait until the next dividend date for Aflac to get paid again. Well, what if you pool that money and say, say Chevron is going ex-dividend next week. So you want to get that money into Chevron so you can get paid a dividend sooner. So the theory would be buy the next stock in your portfolio that goes ex-dividend first. Ex-dividend date is just the date that you need to own the stock by in order to receive the dividend. Okay. Now there's some possible downsides to some of these theories, like especially this one. If you're trying to capture that next dividend, you could be paying too much for a stock. If you're just disregarding the share price or the value and you're just buying it because you want that next, you want to capture a dividend faster, you might be paying too much for a stock. So you really got to watch that. But I really like that concept. If you have a stock that's fair value, like if I'm looking at Campbell's right now and they're going ex-dividend next Monday, and I get in today, and I can own it for 1 day and capture that dividend, obviously you hold it longer than that, but you know what I'm saying? You can get a dividend sooner instead of waiting for 3 months for Aflac. I really kind of like that, and I'm going to intend to do some of that in the future. We always say when we get more time, we get more time. Where do we find that time? Geez, I hope it comes true. We all are going to battle that time monster someday. Next thing you can do, and my buddy Cash does this. We were talking the other day. Use your dividends, pool them, and then take them dividends and buy something that you maybe wouldn't have bought. Essentially creating a free position for yourself. So using your dividends to say, build a large position in something like Starbucks or something you maybe wouldn't have bought, but it's almost kind of at that point like free money. It's not really free money because it's part of your return, but you understand the concept. Maybe that's the kind of money that you do your speculating with, in riskier things that you don't want to use your own money for. When really it's all your money, but just the concept. And the last one I would suggest is a pretty valid concept is pull your dividends into your cash position and use that to build other positions to the size you want them to be. So say I want to have 100 shares of Starbucks, and I'm just having trouble getting there. Well, if I got Pfizer over here throwing off $100 a quarter in dividends, I can just take that $100 and pool it and use that money to buy Starbucks and build that position along with any other cash I'm going to contribute. So there's a lot of different ways to reinvest that money. And these theories are valid in different investing too. In real estate, obviously everybody knows of use the rent from one property that's maybe paid off to reinvest in another property, right? Or use the money that's from the paid for property, reinvest it in that one. Maybe you put on a deck or something and increase the value. You kind of do it in that business too, maybe just not realizing it. So I just want to throw out these different strategies here today to maybe give you some alternative concepts, maybe think a little deeper about these things. So if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you again next week. This is 2 weeks in a row. Kind of proud of myself here. So I know it's a short one, but I'm glad I got to do it, and I look forward to doing it again next week. Everybody take care, and we will see you then.